Okay. Hey, folks. Hello, folks. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mom. Just kidding. My mom's not watching. She doesn't understand software like we do. She doesn't know what it's about. Okay. Keep above others. Will this work? Did I set this to keep below others? No, I did not. No, I did not. It's just that kind of day. Okay. Now, where even is my camera? And is this working? Yeah. Hello, and welcome to Ants Are Everywhere. We are checking out software. We're looking at Krita again. We looked at Krita last week, and I don't know why. I just wanted to look more into it. I guess one of the things I'm curious about is more detail on how the brushes work. So let's dive into that a little bit, just a little bit. And just, I guess, to show some brush variation here to figure out what kind of mathematical properties we care about. Let me move this here, window smaller, and this one too. So here's Krita. Hopefully it, Okay. So here's Krita. And I think I have it set to like a soft pencil. Maybe not. Oh, maybe I need to have mouse on this screen. No? Mouse down here. Whoa, now. Layer is locked. Okay. So here's a light pencil. If I draw lightly, it makes light stuff. If I draw heavy, it makes heavier stuff. And if we zoom in, we should be able to see a little bit about what the different marks are. You can see that the thickness is varying. I don't know if the color itself is varying, but obviously kind of over to where my crazy mouse is right now. What is this thing even doing? Is this like a stamp? I don't know. It gets darker here and seems lighter here. And here, if you zoom in, there is, to get the pencil effect, there are a variety of different color pixels. And they don't seem to have an obvious mathematical relationship where, like, for example, there's not like a dark line through the center that becomes lighter gray as a gradient. There's some randomness to it that gives it kind of a speckled pencil-like appearance. So I'm curious how that works. I don't know what this is called. This is called Pencil 4 Soft. But then there's lots of other brushes, for example, whatever this kind of brush is called. And it has some sort of preview when I hover over it, which I think you can see. And it makes a kind of smudgy appearance. Like if I do a straight line, it looks like I'm taking all of those particles and smudging with them. But if I go over the line, it seems like there's like an additive behavior. So how does all that work? How is that modeled? I don't know. Should we grab any other brush? There's also erasing. I don't know if erasing is the same as, I guess erasing has to have some maybe undo behavior. Is it just painting white? Or is it, is it just painting the background color or transparent? Because I think we're on a layer above white. I don't know. Is it just a transparent brush? And what other sort of effects we have? Some of the effects are relatively obvious, like a stamp should mostly just be like a picture that's a template. And then maybe depending on the pressure, some function of the pressure, it draws a thing. it like copies the thing over with the appropriate color. But there may be like some amount of transparency. How does that work? I don't know. These are the things that you sort of have to figure out if you are going to make a relatively high quality painting. So here's like a kind of watercolory appearance. How does that work? Let's find out what this brush is called. This brush is called what? What? I don't know. Where's the name? Didn't Pencil 4 tell me its name? Water C something or other. So let's look at like some of these brushes. Why not? We're allowed to. Was it Pencil 4 or 4 Pencil? I think it was 4 Pencil Soft. Oh, you can't see the code now. Now you can. However, what are the chances that the brushes are not here? Here's a Kiss Tool Pencil. I think from what we saw before, Kiss might be the wrong level of abstraction. I don't know if this is the brush or something else. Here's plugins, Paint Ops, Pencil 2B, My Paint, Pencil 1 Sketch. This looks promising. So plugins, Paint Ops. I don't know if these are the default pencils. Pencil 1 Sketch, Marker Medium, Wet Paint Plus. And these have some sort of MyB prefix. So there's maybe like a standard format. Let's see if you can find the suffix soft. I think dash soft. The dash might come from like a concatenation operator as opposed to being a literal dash. You would presumably want to use both either single quotes or double quotes consistently, as opposed to starting with a single quote and ending with a double quote like I did. Okay, so that's not there. Let's see if we can find the brushes folder again. So there's this one we have in the background that's a plugin. Here's Lib's brush. Kiss ABR brush collection. Did we look at this before? We looked at some brush stuff before. Brush collection, auto brush. We did look at auto brush, image pipe brush, text brush. We looked at text brush. And I don't know if we looked at SVG brush, but this is presumably some sort of brush that uses an SVG. Load from device, save to device, default extensions to XML. That's not very brush-like, that's very file operation-like. Hang on here. Okay. All right, I'm back. So where is this stuff? I guess you don't need to see me hover over this brush again, but off screen, I'm gonna figure out. I don't know why KDE does this, but I can only interact with the tablet if it's the thing being focused. So let's try to find that brush again, which was what? I don't know. I see some of the brushes do say My Paint, but some don't. Pencil dash 4 dash soft, but it does not say My Paint, so I don't think it's the My Paint brush. Let's try a good old search engine search. Preset bundle overview. Krita comes with a large collection of brush presets. This collection was designed with many considerations to help the beginner and advanced user with brushes that are ready to use. And they're just, they span the different like genres that that Krita users do. I think comic inking is a maybe the most popular digital painting matte painting. Well, I don't know what inking is. Is inking just the drawing of lines? Oops, did I do? Yeah, I did. Inker handles the inking of text and word balloons. So maybe this is just like, I think maybe inking is just the stuff you would do with like a fountain sort of pen in India ink. What is is India ink still the right word? India ink. I don't know if this is an offensive term. I hope it's not. If you know, let me know. But what's the like the pen? Is it just a fountain pen? Not fountain pen, but like a kind of it's like a kind of. It doesn't have a reservoir, does it? Maybe it does. The best India ink pen. I mean, Faber-Castell calls it India ink pens. But these are like felt tip. I mean, maybe that's what people use. I thought they had like a calligraphy tip. At any rate, I think that's the sort of thing that people use in comics. Where's the comic inking? Is this inking? This is India ink. Inker. But anyway, I think this is like the black and white work, like this guy, whatever this person is doing. And then whatever the coloring is called. So, but I think that Krita is largely used by people drawing animation or like animation style stills. And then there are erasers and basics. And here are different examples. This seems to be, based on the drawing, this seems to be like an airbrush. In fact, these all seem to be airbrushed, except this is some sort of, I guess like a detailed brush. Basic 5 size opacity. I don't know what, maybe this is for like backgrounding. And then whatever. Basic 5 size default. Huh. I don't know how these are named, but this is the pencil I was using, Pencil 4 Soft, and then you can see what the different sorts of pencils look like. I personally don't like using hard pencils. I mainly do math with them. I don't really do drawing, but I like the soft pencils. I don't know what that means. And then here's G pen. Pen rough. This is the sort of pen I was thinking of. Ink pen. Is it just called an ink pen? I guess so. But like a fountain pen has like a reservoir that you can fill with kind of like more liquid ink. And I thought that the like comic book ink was thicker and maybe didn't flow, it would maybe clog up a typical pen. Then there's dry painting that appear like bristles. Okay, so these are part of the default. We also have wet. So I don't know how they do all of these different effects. I mean, they look fine. They look cool. So let's find out. Pointillism. So the preset bundle, I think we did see. Here's the My Paint stuff. Let's try preset bundle. Let's try preset. There's Kiss Painter. GBR brush, brush factory, kiss brush. Save preset, presets editor, preset icons. We can try. What? So there's lots of brush preset stuff. Let's try with the L flag. That's too low contrast. Okay, so these are all the files that have the brush preset stuff referred to in them. So libs, flake. Let's see if we can find pencil soft doing the same. Okay. Pencil -4 underscore soft. That was my problem. I didn't realize that some were underscores and some were not. Hey, pencil -4 underscore soft. .kpp. Oh, that's a translation file. These are, okay, so maybe if we can find, so these are translation files. Let's find a language we know. What do we know? Primarily English. How about Great Britain English? What? Why is it opening a blank file? How about VI? Pencil -4 not found. What? Okay. Oops, no, go back. So there's this KPP. What is KPP? I don't know what that is. So somewhere. What? So there are KPPs, but none of them are called pencils. Here, how about this one? Ink -3. It may not be in this repo. Brushes and bundles. So this may be like a download pack. Let's see if we can find it in another repo. Dev brush presets, blah, 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 blah. Where are Krita brush preset files defined? As .kpp file. Okay, so it's a pixel. All right, these are 200 by 200 pixel PNG images. Where the brush's configuration data XML is stored within the file's metadata. Okay. How they are defined, there's a file format. Okay, so where is the where are they in the code base? Is primarily defined in libs images and plugin paint ops. Okay. This handles the loading. We've got XML keys. But are the KPP files themselves in the main Krita repo? So we do have KPP files. We have benchmarks, plugins, some smudge stuff, Krita data paint ops, but not many of them. We have water C basic, blah, blah, blah. Default presets. Hairy brush thesis. The standard brushes that come with Krita are located in the Krita Git repository under. I don't believe that. No such file or directory. Where are they on GitHub? Okay, so they're in some resource bundles, it claims, but this file doesn't exist. Okay, this must be it. So this is presumably some zip archive. Okay, so we have .pats. Do we have KPPs? Yes. Okay, so there they are. Now, are they in my? Did I just unzip them into this directory? Okay. No. Okay, but they're here now, so we can find this thing, which I am told is just a PNG file. Open? No? Okay, so that opened it in Chrome. So here's the PNG file that is the icon. Very interesting. And what is the file browser on this thing? File? Files? Whatever this is called. What program is this? Help about Nemo. All right. Now we know. So what if I open this thing with Nemo? I get this. If I click on it, I get a preview in Chromium, even though Chromium is not my default browser. Can I see properties? Properties. Permissions. Open with. So those are permissions. So can I see the EXIF data? No EXIF tool. Okay. Well, let me install EXIF tool. No, that's the wrong one. We'll install rip grep. Might as well. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I was on mute. Can you hear me now? I will have to. I can fix that in post. I apologize for the liveys. How's it going? Are you an artist connecting the dots? It sounds like you are a connector of dots. I don't know if these are literal dots or metaphorical dots. Okay, so we have. Let me make sure I make a note to that on the live stream the audio was silenced. Okay. Yeah, it's connecting dots of sand. That's correct. Okay, metaphorical dots. Got it. All right, can I grab this? Hello? There we go. All right, so there's a lot here. I'm not sure how to make sense of it, other than first of all, we need to figure out what the abominable snowman is. I'm guessing, so if we go back to here, to Krita, I'm guessing that the abominable snowman, no, was like the preview. Is this still brush? No. Soft. This. I'm guessing this might be the abominable snowman. And why is it that when I... So first of all, as you move your mouse around, it applies some sort of rotation. I'm just like, you know, if you can see it better, maybe if I, you know, with my pencil. It's rotating whatever this image is, which I'm just speculating is the abominable snowman, but I don't know why. It's got like this arm off to the left. But when I press down, it doesn't seem like that's what it does. It kind of creates more stuff up to the right here. So why is that? I don't know. But I'm guessing we should see some sort of rotation. Pressure rotation. Rotation, use same curve. Rotation sensor. Preset rotation sensor use. Yeah, I'm not sure which of these, if any of them, govern the rotation applied as you're hovering over and moving in X, Y coordinate space. So let's find out the answers to some of these. Let's find out where abominable snowman is. Snowman's, and not with an S. There's only one. Okay, so that's not there. How about up, exit, quit, cancel. Oh, save workspace. No. Go away. All right. Hey now. Is it because it's in get ignore? Am I spelling it wrong? Yeah, what was I spelling? Abominable? Okay, I was spelling that wrong. We do have abominable snowman in the translation files. Is that all we have? We have it in the manifest. Do we have an image called abominable snowman? Abominable. I did spell it correctly here. Okay. All right, we do have an abominable snowman brush. And we can open it. And it's this. Is that the same thing? It doesn't look like it. Okay. So I'm guessing that, so this it seems to tell us some information. First of all, this is kind of like a randomish brush pattern. It's got 3 dots here, which I'm assuming the darkness shows up either as darkness or lightness as you apply the brush. This here, over here, looks a little bit weird. Like they just took a thin eraser and cut out some stuff, but I think it's supposed to like be a little bit of splattering. Okay, and here are some more brushes. This is like chalk. So we can kind of get a feel for how these are working now. They have the image, which is kind of like a stamp. And maybe all brushes are ultimately stamps with physics. If you can think of a fan as like kind of like a font, maybe even. I don't know how far that metaphor goes. But these are different brushes. So like chisel streaks. I don't know how people figured out how to do this. I don't think it was the first drawing program that was made. This is a cool one. This is what? Spines. So let's see if we can find a thing that uses spines. Hey, what if I just delete the whole translation directory? Here we go. Much better. Okay, so we have it in the manifest, but it doesn't seem to show up in any of the oh, it's not searching the PNG files. Let's see if we can remedy this. Can I have grep or ripgrep search the, well, I'm off screen here. Search the EXIF metadata of PNG files. Why not? It's my right. By piping the alpha, I don't want to do that. Okay. Write a script to recursively call EXIF tool on every PNG in a root directory and rep the, let's say rip grep the output for spines. Oh, EXIF tool has a recursive flag, it looks like. Empty file. There's a lot of errors. This doesn't seem to be EXIF metadata. All right, I give up there. But even if it told us this, we wouldn't have a good way of figuring out which metadata belong to which file without like parsing the output. But somebody uses spines. Okay, so that tells us a bit. Let's take this XML. Hey, where'd it go? And hand it off to a more capable adversary. And by adversary, I mean helper. Tell me about this XML file. Does this configure the brush to rotate as the mouse hovers over the Krita canvas? It rotates the brush based on the stroke direction while drawing. All right. The key section is here. Pressure, rotation, true. Okay. So there's this rotation sensor stuff, pressure, rotation. What are the pressure and rotation curves? And then there's something about drawing angle. So brush definition, graphite grain. Okay, oh, I didn't see the graphite stuff. I was talking about the grain in the beginning, but whatever a GIH file is, let's take a step back here. Whoa. Okay, so there's graphite grain.g. And it's in brushes. And what kind of file is it? It is a GIMP. GIMP. Okay, GIMP animated brush data. So it's a GIMP file. Great. And it's animated. I didn't know there were GIMP specific animated files. I don't have GIMP. I can install it. Oh, I'm not even showing the right screen. Sorry about that. You guys were looking at my terrible drawing. Okay, so we have this graphite grain thing. Okay, and this is what it looks like. This is the graphite grain. And you can see, for example, if I can figure out how to scroll with the mouse wheel on GIMP, it's hold down control, that there are differences in the blackness. Presumably it might also rotate around like the other brush. I mean, the other, that was like an image of the brush that is like kind of rotating as you're moving around. This might do the same, or it might like perturb itself in some particular way. I don't know what makes this animated. I was expecting like an animated GIF or GIF kind of thing. But can I image mode? Overwrite. Open as. Maybe we can find a way to animate it, but this is at least how they get the grain in there. It's not a mathematical property. It's presumably this might have started as somebody sketching with a certain kind of pencil on a paper, maybe a paper with some grain to it or some tooth to it, whatever they call that stuff. Let's see if we can find out if this really is an animated brush. Okay, so I guess this is like a GIMP file for like consuming in GIMP brush type. Yeah. And here's some I'll add this to my reading list. This is some information from the GIMP documentations 2.10. I don't know how old that is. I don't know what version GIMP is on. This might be ancient documentation. Yeah, what an unfortunate name. They have refused to change it. We are now on GIMP 3.08 is the stable release. All right, so this is old documentation. I probably could have told you that from the look and feel of this. It looks like we're like in Windows 95 or something. The dialog has several options, not easy to understand. They allow you to determine the way your brush is animated. Spacing. Spacing is the distance between consecutive brush marks when you trace out a brush stroke with the pointer. You must consider drawing with a brush, whatever the paint tool, like stamping. Okay, here we go. That was my hypothesis, seeing how it was implemented. So drawing with a brush, whatever the paint tool is basically stamping. If spacing is low, stamps will be very close and stroke look continuous. So the stroke will look continuous. If spacing is high, stamps will be separated. That's interesting with a color brush, like green paper green pepper, for instance. So, and it varies from 1 to 200. I don't know why they couldn't normalize to 100. And this percentage refers to brush diameter. 100% is one diameter. Okay, so spacing is the farthest away you can be is like there's a pepper between your first pepper. There's like an invisible pepper between your first pepper and your second pepper. And then the brush name, there's the cell size. That's the size of cells that you will cut up in layers. Default is 1 cell per layer, and size is that of the layer. Then there is only 1 brush aspect per layer. We could have only 1 big layer and cut it up in cells. I don't know what that's saying. Here's some picture. Dimension, rank, and selection. With a 3D array, we don't talk rows and columns, but dimensions and ranks. The first dimension, okay, so this some sort of 3-dimensional cube that's cut up into cells. GIMP starts retrieving cells from the top of the stack. The way it fills the array reminds that of an odometer. Right rank digits turn first, and when they are reached their maximum, left rank digits start running. That's any counter. If you have some memories of basic programming, blah, blah, blah. So what are the cells for? I don't see a number. There's number of cells, 1 cell per aspect that will be cut in every layer. In GIMP brush, GH brushes, what are cells and why? They should correspond to some, like, GIMP image hose. Is that what it stands for? A brush is essentially a smart brush that sprays multiple images. Okay, instead of one static shape. If you've ever used the grass or vine brushes that change shape as you draw, you use that. So a cell is an individual frame or version of the brush tip. Okay, so it's like a sprite sheet. Where did the sprite sheet metaphor go? While GIMP sees the file as a collection of layers, it treats each rectangular area, cell, as a, as a single stamp that it can press onto the canvas. Okay, so it's just rotating through cells. I don't know why it has a 3-dimensional structure. I'm sorry, it's just rotating through stamps, like a sprite sheet. I guess it has a structure because you can maybe move backward and forward more easily. Must be the same exact width and heights. It's dynamic variety. Without cells or brushes, just a static stamp. To create animation / direction for like jitteriness to avoid the mechanical look of digital art, and to react to pressure. You can map cells to pressure. Okay, so I think this is, I think the reason they have like a 3-dimensional shape is that you can like more easily index into the stamp as opposed to just computing like a jump maybe to a flat list. So why does the array of cells have 3D shapes? Why not have a flat list of stamps? This is a fantastic question. Oh, thank you. I'm not used to the Google AI mode search kissing my butt. I'm used to the other ones kissing my butt. But I think this is a rare occasion of the AI, the Google search itself doing butt kissing. You're right that at the end of the day, GIMP is just picking out one stamp. It allows for conditional logic. If they were a flat list, GIMP could only pick one cell based on one rule. No. Using a multi-dimensional array, they can be. Oh, I guess I can see what it's saying. So, like, condition 1 says go to the back of the room, and condition 2 says like go pick the one closest to the wall or whatever. And so those two conditions would pick out a different. Yeah. Okay. So that's why they're dimensions. So the logic of dimensions in GIMP, each dimension has a rank. Think of it as a filing system rather than a physical shape. Okay, so there's one dimension for each choice, essentially each parameter. So you have a parameter space that's the number of dimensions of the, the parameter count. That's how it works. Okay, great. I'm on board with that. I have learned a great deal now about brushes. That was from GIMP, but it seems like Krita is using it, which they should, because why not? And then we have these sensor curves. Let's find out a little bit about these sensor curves. Let's take a look for maybe pressure sensor. What are you doing here? Because the word sensor has to appear. There's KISS sensor data, my paint sensor pack, detail sensors. Dynamic sensor fuzzy base, sensor pack hardness. Dynamic sensor time. But why not? I'm pretty sure I looked up pressure sensor. It didn't like it. We have sensor pressure, sensor struct, sensor. I think KISS sensor data is maybe used for all kinds of sensor stuffy, and then they just have different variable names or whatever. So KISS sensor data is. Is there a big lag? No, I think I'm okay. There's a little bit of a lag. So there's KISS sensor data, which has a sensor ID and a curve. And we start with the default curve string. The curve seems to take a string as an argument. Set base curve range. Base curve range. We have our QRectF. Rectangular function, maybe? It's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 floats. Seems rectangly. We have case sensor data read. We can take a QDOM element. Is QDOM like an HTML DOM for a Qt? We get a curve element E first child at curve. If curve element is not null, then we turn it into text. Otherwise, it's the default. If we fail to read, it's the default. And where's curve defined here? Wait a minute. Where are we? We're in the CPP file. Let's find the header. What was it? Sensor data? What are the chances it's just sensor data.h? So curve is just a Q string. Okay. Great. Now, what is a QRectF? It provides a collection of functions that return a various rectangle coordinates. And blah. Okay, so a finite rectangle in the plane. Okay, so it defines a rectangle. The curve defines a rectangle. But why? And what is the default curve string? Is that in the header? Ink depletion curve. Okay, so where's this defined? Okay, so it's 0, 0, 1, 1. That seems to be Yeah. The thing I said was linear before. I guess the reason it wasn't at half-half is because... No, that should be fine. I'm not sure how that defines a different thing here, but this seems to be defining a rectangle. And what rectangle is it? I don't know. And why is there a semicolon? No. Okay, so a real Q rectef takes presumably four corners and makes a rectangle with those four corners. Is that no, that can't be right. Yeah, top. Okay, no, you say what the top left is, and then the width and height. Yeah, that's a valid parameterization, unlike the four corners thing I just mentioned. Okay, so that's what a QRectF is. And y is... And so what was the function that we were looking at that returns a QRectF? You can set a base curve range from a QRectF. You can get... Oh, the curve range. Okay. So the range is the thing that's a rectangle. Why is it not an interval? I'm not sure. But where's the curve function itself? Oh no, there's not a function. There's just, this is defining. Yeah, it's just setting the default. But what do we do with the curve? When we write the sensor data, basically it looks like we're just writing XML. Stop this. And when we read the sensor data, it seems like we're just reading XML. We could reset it. Case sensor with length. Here's some stuff with angle offset. I'm not sure. Let's return here. So, okay, so there's a GIH brush. Going back before to the looking at the XML file with ChatGPT, we looked at the graphite grain brush. There's an angle, and this is about a 90-degree rotation. So the brush starts rotated at 90 degrees, rotates dynamically with stroke definition only while painting. Okay. They do actually rotate on hover. And then I asked what the curve and pressure maps are. The curve maps an input, like pressure or stroke angle, to an output value, like size, opacity, or rotation. Yeah. And the pressure curves is for how tablet pressure affects a brush parameter. And they have 0, 0, semicolon, whatever this is, 0.145, blah, 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 comma 0, dot, whatever that is. So light pressure barely increases size, mid pressure jumps size quickly, full pressure is full size. This is a nonlinear curve. Okay, so these seem like they are maybe just points on the curve, and then they just get interpolated. Pressure curve behavior types. Your preset includes this rotation sensor. It has no curve block here. This is because the sensor uses drawing angle. That means that input equals stroke direction. And then rotation for, okay. So what are the inputs to the pressure curve, to the curves? Are these points on the curve that then get interpolated to provide a function. I mean, I don't see what else they can do. That's about all they can do. Okay, so these are, oh, they're control points. Okay, let's break it down clearly. All right, that's fine. But then where's the code that handles it? And if we go back to Emacs, darken sensor, flow sensor. Let's try flow sensor. So it's not showing any result at all because it's not searching the EXIF data of the PNG, and this brush is defined in the EXIF data of the PNG. But what I don't understand is where is in Krita get source code, where is the code that handles flow sensor? The word flow sensor does not appear in the code base. And did I try this? Flow sensor is an XML serialization name. Okay. Krita stores brush. Yes, I understand that. Where the flow is actually implemented inside the paintbrush paint op implementation. Okay. Is where dabs are generated and parameters are allowed. Flow influences how much pigment. Swift. Why is it saying Swift? I don't know if this is a real file. It is. Okay, so here's the brush engine directory. Paint op.h. And we're not going to spend much time on this. I just want to kind of see how this hooks up with the XML stuff. Paint op.h doesn't have much. We have can paint, which I guess is true by default. Split coordinate. Paint Bezier curve. Draw a Bezier curve between position 1 and position 2. Using control points 1 and 2. Paint line is going to take 2 paint informations and some distance information. Update timing. Okay. And so where's flow? Does flow exist anywhere? KS Paint Op are used by tools to draw on a paint device. A paint op takes settings and input information like pressure, tilt, or motion and uses that to draw pixels. So I don't know why it's called sensor, but maybe the pressure sensor is just a like the corresponding thing is just called pressure. So we have rotation, perspective, time, speed. This is K-paint information. Okay. And the XML is telling you what the corresponding pressure curve should be. Tangential pressure. All right. Let's see if any of these other ones are interesting. Didn't I have a... Where's my other... Did I have another Emacs window? Or did I like close my XML thing? What have I done? Maybe I just didn't save it. All right, well, I don't know what I just did. I don't know what I did with my XML file. Oh, it's here. But why isn't it really there? Yeah, foo.xml. Did I just not save it? And why is it not showing up? Okay, great. All right, so let's see if we have tangential pressure. No, darken. We have all this darken stuff. Do we have darken in here? We do have darken mode somewhere. Okay. We have pressure scatter. Can we find scatter? All right, we do have scatter, and it does show up in paint up settings. So I think ChatGPT is actually right about this. That these are that these keys get redeemed for maybe more ergonomically named C++ variables. And I think that's basically all. We're about an hour 13 in. I think that's basically all we've got time for. We've learned a little bit about brushes. We saw a little bit about brushes. Here's some more. Is there anything worth like really playing here? I did find a way to make it more tablet-like. Where's my pen? ¿Dónde? Here. So as we draw around, I'm really zoomed in here. As I move around, it's rotating, not super fast. It does seem like it. Maybe it's just my hand is not stable, which is why it's rotating while hovering. But you can see if I press lightly, the image is smaller. If I press hard, it's full size. And we didn't really see how like coloring over the same spot makes it darker, but you can imagine how that works. There's just some blending operation that is presumably a function of the brush itself. Let's see if we can find, let's ask ChatGPT how blending is done. How is blending configured? For example, the brush gets darker if I color the same area over several times. Great question. This is where Krita brushes get interesting. Oh, that's probably what the darken thing is. Composite mode, blending mode, opacity, flow, dab, spacing. How often? Okay, so dab is the stamping. Let's unpack what's happening in the preset. So there's a composite op, which says something, it says normal. That means the blending mode is normal blending, mathematically simplified. The result is the source times the alpha plus the destination times 1 minus alpha. So alpha is the transparency. So this is presumably the transparency of the source. And we're adding it to the like inverse transparency of the destination. So for example, if the source is 100% transparent, then the destination is 100% opaque, and so on. If alpha is less than 1, repeated strokes accumulate. If the opacity were 100% and flow were 100%, painting twice wouldn't change everything. Flow versus opacity, the critical difference. Opacity limits the maximum transparency of the entire stroke. Flow controls how much paint is deposited per dab. Okay, so flow, what? Your preset includes flow, use, curve, true, flow value 1, flow sensor, pressure base. So each dab has a partial opacity depending on pressure. If flow is less than 1, then each dab deposits only part of the color. And when dabs overlap, either from moving slowly or painting multiple times, low spacing, you get accumulation. That's the darkening effect. And the effective alpha is base opacity times flow curve of pressure. I'm not sure this is literally true, but this seems Seems reasonable as a mental model at least. So if effective alpha is 0.3, then blending twice. After first pass, 30% paint. Second pass is 51%. Okay. All right. I think that's good. I feel like I have a much better understanding of what Krita is like under the hood. I'm not sure I would have hit upon storing brush information in a bundled PNG file. It seems like that would be difficult to change manually, but maybe that's okay. Presumably, or I don't know, but maybe there's tooling that helps people, maybe you adjust it in Krita and then save it as like the bundle if you're a developer. But that is interesting. And that's all for now. Thank you for watching. This is Ants Are Everywhere.